very familiar words, yeah, in our practice. Okay, so let's start. Hi, everybody. Thank you for coming. My name is Ilya Kalinin, and I will moderate our meeting with Sasha Skochilenko. I am a visiting fellow here in Berlin and at Humboldt University, also in Berlin. And I will start from short introduction of for Sasha. Sasha Skochilenko. Yeah, I will try to be brief, though the story of our professional and academic and even personal relation is already quite long. We knew each other since 2015, as well as I remember when you enrolled in Smolny College, and since you attended the first year seminar. Yes, since that time. So this is autumn 2013. Yeah, Sasha has a lot of, I would say, a lot of professional and personal identities. She's an artist, journalist, writer, yeah, and thinker.
First of all, a musician.
A musician, yeah. First of all, a musician, yeah, and her unfortunately a political prisoner.
Ex-political prisoner.
Former political
Yes.
prisoner, yeah. Like you, yeah, and her trajectory has not a linear one, yeah, because after school you enrolled to Saint Petersburg Theater Academy, yeah, to study TV and film directing, and
yes, it is.
Yeah, and on your last year in this academy, Sasha, yeah, did maybe someone can find this gesture not non-rational, yeah, because you left the academy just a few months before the finish of your education there, and after that, Sasha worked as a freelance journalist and photographer and a political activist also, yeah, and I mean during the protest movement of
Yes,
2011, 2012.
I'm really sorry to interrupt you,
No,
but
please.
I wanted to mention that like my gesture wasn't like stupid, because it was like really great in a practical way, because in Russia you have a right to have only one second education, like college or university, for free. And if I would get my director's diploma, I wouldn't have a chance to study for free, because I came from a very poor family. So I didn't have a chance, my parents, to like pay for me. So I needed to really refocus, to study, to pass the exams that I already passed when I was 17. Then I was finishing school. So I went to university with like 18 and 19 years old, and I was like 23. I remember like that age you are thinking that you are too old for like anything. So yeah, and it was like something confusing to start again with the people who are just like left school, but in a year I like recognize that like age don't matter at all. Sorry for interrupting.
No. You're welcome to interrupt me. Yeah, and but by the way, since 2013, yeah, Sasha enrolled to the Faculty of Liberal Arts and Science, so to Smolny College, and and Sasha moderated on the program Anthropology and Sociology, and I was Sasha's academic supervisor since the first year of her education, and I remember that your bachelor thesis was dedicated to TV video production for children and some political and administrative restriction for this type
yes,
of production.
It was like partly about censorship and the like changing process of like moral problematization of this problem. Because if like parents see something on the screen that like don't fit for child, and this criterion is personal, it is not like common. So, and like government insisting that it should be common, that children like shouldn't watch like LGBT community, or don't watch like these movies with violence, because there are like theories that if like child like watching something that he or she indoctrinated it, and like his or her behavior is changing. But not all the people is believing this, and not all the scientists believe in this. So it was something that was a personal moral decision for parents to like forbid to watch something, or to like say to his or her child, like, watch everything that you want, like in order to build some relationship with trust, and so on. And I was like, and the main object I was like placing into this like problem to research was like a Soviet Union cartoons, and the perception of children, modern children, the Soviet cartoons about like Soviet reality, like pioneers, like I don't know, like сдавать металлолом, like how to say this?
Сдавать металлолом, Philip, how to say it in English? So it's about the recycling for different type of material, like iron or paper and so on and so forth. So just to collect some stuff for recycle, yeah.
Yeah, not just to collect, but
and then to processing, yeah, to recycle.
Not only processing, but like
and to build your Soviet subjectivization, yeah.
Yes, and also it was somehow like соревнование, like competition, as I understand it. I don't know for sure, because I wasn't like a Soviet child. And the interesting thing was like, what is the child understands from these like ancient like Soviet unions that parents are like almost like making them to watch, because they're like think of it like of something moral. Like Soviet cartoons are like moral, Soviet cartoons are like pure, Soviet cartoons are naive, and it's proper for children. But like nowadays cartoons are not proper. So it was like the main problem. So I think I explained this. After these years, I actually could explain my work. I think I like couldn't do it on my final exams. but now I can.
Yeah, and I may recall one of your letter from the prison, the letter to me, where after the discussion of some practical things, you wrote a postscriptum where mentioned that because we use the Foucauldian perspective also for this TV production, and you wrote that now you understand that the main audience for Russian TV are precisely in prison. So the prisoners are the best and maybe the most motivated audience for
Yes.
TV scene in Russia, and this is very symptomatic for you that you study this TV production and Foucault's book about the prison, yeah, and the birth of prison. All of us know this book. So your interest to Foucauldian perspective of some disciplinary practices and prison from one hand, and the TV production from the other hand. So this was one step to the real person as a prisoner. Yeah, something like that. It was very touching moment to me when I read
Oh,
this letter about
thank
you.
you. Can we like just stop into the Foucault point, because it's like very, very crucial. I was like very surprised. Then I was like talking with my cellmate, and she was asking what letters I was receiving. It was like a big letter. I was like we were communicating with some academic, and I asked her like if she knows some papers about women's prisons, because we know that all the experience that everyone know about prison is like a man. Yes, like Archipelago Gulag, like that's all, and we don't know about women, don't know about women experience, and this is like really different, and the papers were like, I don't know, maybe 6. It was like one I don't know, one book with the papers, and when my cellmate, she asked what it is, and I let her read this, and then she asked me about Foucault, about panopticon. What is it? She was like 18 years old, orphan from the town, from the provincial town Slancy, came from a very like poor family and very like bad conditions. But I was surprised that I actually can explain her in like really simple words, like the theory of Foucault and how it is the same of what we are experiencing. And she understood. So, and I think that's why, like, that's the use, that's the first point. Yes, that's the first use of the academic, of the, bachelor degree in arts and sciences, because you not only can read, not only can memorize, not only can conceptualize, but can speak about it in very simple words, like to share this knowledge with people, not to hold it in this private elite clubs, because this is like for people. And also about Foucault, like this is a book that like kind of went public like a few days ago, and the Foucault thing is, I don't want to do a commercial, but because it don't need a commercial, because it is like Aldous Huxley, like first time translated into Russia, like some of his essays that couldn't be printed in a Soviet Russia and in modern Russia too, because it's mostly about mescaline and pacifism, you see. And with the with Ilya Alexandrovich, we were like also discussing this thing. I don't know, there was a question that I really like wanted to ask you, because sometimes I'm telling
Discussed
I'm
LSD.
I'm telling this
Wow.
story because you know, Michel Foucault also has an essay, like a very large essay about his trip in the Death Valley.
Mhm.
Yes, and after this,
Was it risky
you
plan?
said
Yeah.
you said this to me, that after that trip, he like rewrite it.
The second volume of his history of sexuality, yeah. It was an experience of epiphany after, but it was after LSD experience, yeah. This is important.
But yes, and when I talked with Ilya about it, he said that, you know, Sasha, like many people can like try LSD, but not like many people could rewrite the like second volume of History of Sexuality.
Yes.
That was
You need to have at least one volume of it. You have to rewrite the second one. Yeah.
Yes, and that was like very crucial point. So I was Foucault. Yes, I need to find it, and I did an illustration. All the illustration here are my works. Like, and it was like, you know, like just imagine you're like an artist that like suddenly became famous, and they like they like say to me like, hey, let's illustrate Aldous Huxley, and I'm like, oh wow. And I was like so nervous, because I knew how many, you know, psychedelic people would be like reading this. So because we have like really huge interest in this, because like in Russian discourse, all these words like that could be related to something that called drugs are forbidden, and we can like talk about it, we can reflect about it, we can do like a proper, like, you know, drug education, like real one. So, and that's that's the essay of Aldous Huxley that started from a phrase like, today I want to talk with you about mescaline, like, you know, some of Lacan's seminar and something like this. And this picture is here. This is like some academic is like explaining like the effect of LSD and something like this. And this very guy I intended to like depict a Michel Foucault. So you can actually like watch it, like that guy in glasses. So, and that's you know, that these like small things, these like huge knowledges from like all the spheres that like Smolny provided to me, like these very things, they were like forming, you know, like the whole picture. I was able to discuss like all things in the world with all my correspondents. I could able to discuss history. I could able to discuss art. I could able to discuss cinema, music, and some, you know, modern theories, and even something like very simple, like, you know, animals and so on. And, you know, this ability to write texts that Smolny was like, you know, raising in us, because like every week, almost every week and every month and every year, you should be preparing some writings, some essays. And this was like really hard sometimes, because, you know, I was 23, I came from a poor family, so I needed to work in the same time. It was really convenient that you could like form your timetable in semester, and I could get some windows like to do my work, because yes, I was doing journalists. I was doing some, you know, watching over elections. This was like really crucial that day, because some of the municipal deputies, they actually could the days get to this municipal, как сказать, municipality.
Municipality, yeah, or municipality districts.
Yes, and they actually could like really change something, like these simple things, like not to, not to use budget for the wrong things, like to repair a road or something, and they like watched how unfair it was, and I was held in police station when I was filming elections, and it was like 2014, and so I spent a night in a police station, and also like was a court and so on, and there were like many publications about it, and of course like people from Smolny and professors were like reading all this, and that time Ilya Alexandrovich offered me to participate in some project with stipendship, because it was like really crucial for me. Like, and I even managed to like get only A's and got high stipendship. So, and like every month you should like bring papers that somehow show you something that you distinguished. Maybe you know this. So, and also I was like bringing papers about my involvement to watching elections, my politic and protesting and journalist stuff. And actually in Smolny that years, in like 2014, they like counted as something that I distinguished, and they like gave me a higher rating, so I could get this stipendship. And maybe you can tell me about this like very project. I knew that that was something about like Soviet researchers. I don't know exactly, but and I remember it was I don't know, you were discussing this with other professors, and you like offered my candidature, and they say, oh, this Skochilenko who was in the police station, yes, okay, we must work with her. And this was in the same time when from philological faculty, from linguistic faculty, some students were expelled with this, like, unmoral gestures. So, and the Smolny was, like an island, a liberal, a free island. They were able to discuss like everything. We were discussing Putin, we were discussing reforms, we were discussing like the war with Ukraine and so on, when it was like, it wasn't full-scale invasion, but the annexion of crime took place, and we were discussing all this, and it was like, an island of freedom, and around this, like, and we kind of never noticing that around this island, the gray and cold ocean of repressions was, they were like going and like absorbing it slowly, because the year later I participated in a conference in Smolny. I had like very attractive and very naive research, but really interesting one, because I was I was really fond of TV and TV investigation, TV research, and no one like understood me at the time, because everyone was studying cinema, and I kind of realized how like people's life are, is like represented on TV, because TV is for like some really simple people, and it is working with a commercial. I'm not talking about like VGTRK and so on, but these almost private channels, they survive in with the commercial. So when they like when they were like playing something, they're playing something that people wanting. And this is like a huge thing that we are forgetting about, because everyone is saying like Russian television is like propaganda, but no one wants to think how it is forming, how it is working, how it is representing. And I was like really fond of this. And other people were like, no, we are studying cinema and Freud and Lacan and so on. Yes. And Ilya Alexandrovich was like, you know, almost
But
like
Lacan wrote about TV, yeah.
yeah, I know. Yes, I was reading this. It was like some, oh no, I remembering the phrase from it about like, you know, about an eye, and I can forget it. You know this.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. Like you, I think you would be interested, so you will read it. There would be a phrase about eye, and it's disgusting.
Sorry for that. Yeah, that's okay. Education is a traumatic process. So this is the
Yes.
most productive part of the education. So
Yes, so I was watching like the most popular,
pain. Yeah.
yes, the most popular, you know, program on TV. Do you know what it could be on Russian TV? Like the most popular, the most rated program. Any suggestions?
Yeah, sure.
Or it has like a big auditory, but not now. It had it like in like 2000 and but no. Any other suggestions?
The weather program.
You are closer. You are closer.
News?
You're almost there. No,
Criminal news.
no. Yes, but no.
Still no.
This is what?
No.
You're almost there. The most popular program, and no one like would argue with this, and you won't, I think, also. But maybe if you want to, you can discuss it. But this is a New Year's speech.
Show.
New Year's speech of the
President's speech.
President's speech, of course, because this is a tradition. Because this is a tradition to watch it, whether like people like this Putin or not, they just like waiting for you know, clocks to bang, and so, and there is Putin, and there is a time to pour your drinks, and so you know the time, you know the time to prepare. So, so and no,
Then you will reach you. Yeah.
and no, nobody even like listen to this, and nobody like really memorize anything. Like maybe the like most popular like stuff was said by Yeltsin, "Я устал, я ухожу," but still it is maybe like, I don't know, it was, yes, like "Я устал, я ухожу," and
Yes,
this
this
is
is an apocryphal story. So
yes, yes, yes.
he didn't say this word.
Yes,
I
yes.
left. Yeah, I left. This is very Yeltsin words, but
Mm.
this is just attributed to him.
So, and I watched all these programs. Hopefully they are not like many, because I've like watched it from like 90s, and I like found out that in Soviet Union there was not like such a tradition. It wasn't like very strong, as I realized. It was like kind of forming in 90s, and became like really strong in like 2000. And I noticed like one funny thing, like many times on many New Years, Putin was standing under the Kremlin. Yeah, it was his like first speech. Like he is like, I don't know, like small чиновник, как сказать?
Oh, official.
Small, like kind of small official with some like, you know, gray coat and this like great big Kremlin around him. But every year the mise-en-scène was like slightly changing. The Putin was growing big and the Kremlin was growing small. And and like the final stuff is like Putin addressing to people like in front of very, very small like Kremlin, like, you know, like from something from above. So it was like the point, like, but in 2023, like the addressing to people was like really mad, but because there was Putin and the, you know, the wall with the war heroes, so-called war heroes. So, and all the heads from the like higher rows, it was like, you know, from like school photography, like everyone, like many soldiers standing behind Putin, and even like heads of a high row was like cut. I don't know, this is like a very cynical thing to like have these vets with cutted heads in the shot. It was strange. So I did my research, and I like kind of you know, measure it with this stuff, centimeter, yes, and it was like quite easy to you know, say, and so that was the work, but it was like it was really, the reaction was really warm on the conference, and I really won like that conference, and they of course they promised to like print me in Smolny, how you can call this Smolny чтение.
Smolny reading.
Smolny readings, and there was like a catalog with the papers from each conference, from like the paper were like most interesting. So my paper intended to be in it, but the next year came, and like some professors, they not Ilya Alexandrovich, they explained to me that unfortunately we can't print it right now because we have a situation. And I remember like this year, you know, the idea of telling people about like use of art, of an education in arts and scientists, it came for me from remembrance of that case. There were some people that were from Ministry of Education, and they like went to Smolny. I don't remember who it was actually, and they Smolny gave it like some students that could like talk, and they also like invited me, and there was some lady that, and she said from the ministry, and she said like, I don't understand what's the use of the education in liberal and sciences. Like she was like questioning us, and it was like huge event in like some fancy spaces of ours, and she was kind of asking, and we were like kind of tried to explain her why it is useful. And so if we are talking about why it is useful in jail, except like Foucault interpretations and telling people about Foucault, this is like this, you know, also this ability to write. And I'm not only talking about course, because, you know, like every last word, every last statement was kind of an essay from Smolny, because you needed to like place some arguments and go to some conclusion and so on. It was like, you know, like I was prepared for this moment, you know, like all that, like 4 years, I was prepared for this moment. I was prepared for the public talks, because, you know, when you should like deliver a speech from what your life and freedom could depend on, like every other speeches like wouldn't be compared to this, you know. And I tried to put like everything that I knew from Smolny, everything that I knew like from my life to this like statement that I wrote, and also like my knowledges from Smolny, they like kind of helped me to build, to like start the media campaign that was held in by Sonia, by Losha. Like every week, my lawyer came to me in CISO and I asked her to bring the publication about my case with the photographs and so on. And I was reading them like carefully to know what should I do next, because all of my studying, all of my researching of media, they told me like how you connect, how you can build an icon, how you can build a hero. So I used that knowledges to do my public talks, and I also involved some, people's ancient archetype, because I understand right away that the most effective way to tell about my case is to build a heroine. No, let's see. We're talking. Oh no! Why we are talking drugs like again? Okay. So and. I just forget what I was talking about.
About the production of your image, public image.
Yes, yes. Like there are like archetypes that I could use. There was like, the the ancient Christian saint that like suffering. And this is like a very crucial thing for Russians, for this Christianity and Orthodox culture, for the simple people that was like some saint that is like kind of in suffering for the for the world, for the peace, and so on. So I like chooses my costumes. I wore like a t-shirt. It was like different like every time, but it was bright. It was like kind of reminding about cultural of hippies, because it also was with dye, and it is also like that archetype, that modern archetype that I could use. And also, this costume also was looking very, very skromna,
Modest.
very modest. So even Al Jazeera could printed my photo, So this is strong. This is like communication with like a lot of people, a lot of different people. And also there was a layer from some intellectuals, like as we're talking about Lacan, this Antigona stuff, how he called her like Блистательная Antigona, how it is like translating in English.
Bright Antigona.
Bright Antigona, yes, like this very essay about I. No. It was in that very essay with I. So you must read it. I think you are intrigued now. So, and I like used that kind of thing, and its idea came for me on my very first day in like the detention center. I saw the little library, and I noticed the Decameron Boccaccio there. Actually, I started to read this book. Then was a pandemic, of course, because it's about plague, about like people who were like celebrating themselves in the times of plague, and they are also on some island, and they are telling every night. They are telling some interesting and somehow spicy stories about like people, about couples, about something strange or something cruel, and so on. And they just like very, very long. And I like No, it was somewhere around my house, and then I noticed it like in my first jail, and I asked the police woman to like bring me, and I was like reading Decameron. From that very place I stopped, and suddenly I came up with an idea. I noticed that ladies in that stories, they couldn't, do real actions. They're like, held it in the houses, in the castles, or so on. But they're really solving really difficult problems only by writing some letters to some, I don't know, exact people that could help. So, and that's why I understand that the first step I should make is to communicate with all journalists all around the world and ask them to print it. And that's how they like created small sparkles, like small sources that can can push a resonance. So I really knew media because I studied it. And so Sonia and my friends was doing like all the things, but I actually like was in control, but I was in soft control. So that is my style. And so that's why if I didn't have this experience with Smolny, this like, journey of my life, I'm really grateful to Smolny because it was, something really interesting, this academic trip. It was like so wonderful, and it helped me to solve some really different problems, like, you see. And that's why I wanted to tell you about this, because I knew people that sometimes, especially in Russia, were somehow, they had, they were doubting this idea of liberal arts and scientists because it's kind of not practical, and all the career you can like build is like an academic career. But actually, like these knowledges, they like build you as a person, and this is like very huge, and this is like kind of very big.
So you would like to stop right now? Yeah.
Maybe that's like a bright point.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. So thank you, Sasha. You propose one more answer why we need liberal art model, especially in Russia, and what the practical reasons to have this education and this degree. Of course, it is very unusual and unpleasant and not very positive, but life consists not only with positive experience, but also such dramatic one as you had. But yeah, we have some time for your questions or comments or maybe you would like to add something.
But I have a question like for you, because the whole process of destroying freedom in Smolny, I was seeing from like my perspective, and you kind of saw more. Maybe you could like share like some light on this process, not like how did you see this, these steps, this like restriction of some inconvenient publications, like the expelling of professors in the like final studies.
Yes, we have Denise Kopin in the audience, and I think we can compare your experience in a way. So maybe we'd share my mic with Denise, and
because I've heard of this story and I wanted to like thank you. And this was you who was like expelled from Smolny
Yes,
with
yes,
it. Yes,
It was me.
you're amazing.
Thank you so much. You too. You are
Thank
amazing.
you.
And I wanted to say that I attended your process. I was
Thank
there.
you.
I came there with some other professors and our students as well to support you. And it's very it's great to see you here and not behind the bars. You know, it's really unexpected and surprising for me. And thank you for being here. And yeah,
Yeah, but
yeah.
you never told me about your experience. I want to know. Maybe like people from here really want to know this because I think not like everyone know about your story.
You know, my experience is much less harsh than yours.
It's not
I
about
mean,
less or like I don't know, bigger. It's about your academic experience, like to be expelled from such a liberal place that like used to be liberal. And as I think from my perspective, like this changes was like drastical, but maybe it was my perspective. That's why I want to hear it. I was in jail when this happened, that was happening with Smolny. So I want to know.
you know, it was, you know, it's all our world was collapsing at that moment. You know, everything was collapsing. All our lives were collapsing, and it was a really traumatic experience. You know, I spent 10 days in jail, and I should say that it was less traumatic than my experience of being expelled from Smolny. You know, yeah, that's it
Because
was
this is
it,
like,
it was really unpleasant.
of course, I think it is like very painful because you, like the reason you were like expelled, like they said you like did some unmoral gesture, that was like the main point that was like mad because it was like, you know, in some kind of broken mirror. Because, you know, you did such a moral and brave thing because, you know, I came from like nowhere. I had no like proper job and some, you know, status and so on. Like I refused it. I refused it in order to do my art. You know, that was a funny thing that when I work in reconstructions, we went to reconstruct some apartment, and it was apartment of Yershov. And he met, yes, and he met me in a, you know, building suit, and he never recognized me. And so this, and so I don't even, you know, don't even understand how like it was like your career, and it was like liberal place you also like building with other people, because it was, this morning was about communication, not about like hierarchy, like strict hierarchy or something, or maybe I don't understand it.
It was a decision made somewhere above. Yeah. It was not a decision made by Smolny people, Smolny professors. No, it was a personal decision of the head of Saint Petersburg State University, Kropachev.
Oh, you know him.
Yeah, of course, I was supported by all our professors who wrote a letter of support. I was supported by all our students, so by all Smolny community. Yeah, so, yeah.
No questions yet in the chat, although there is a comment from our BART colleague Jonathan Becker. This is such a wonderful vindication of liberal arts education. We are so thankful for your insights.
Oh,
So, and we're still waiting for the questions from the audience here.
yes.
Yes. Yes.
Sasha, I'm so glad I came because I did not know many things about Smolny. I did not shamefully know that you have known each other and that Ilya was your professor at Smolny. I didn't know.
Whoa.
I've known Ilya for a long time. But what I want to say just to prove this is just how important what you've been saying is that when your closing statement was published in the English translation, I was teaching class. It was called, I mean, the course was something contemporary Russian culture. And of course it was, I just couldn't resist, and I sent this link to the English translation to my students from the subway an hour before the start of the class. And they did come, and almost all of them have read it within this hour. And then now, it's only now I understand why it was so kind of impactful, because it's a liberal arts sort of foundation,
Yes.
which kind of leads me to the conclusion that it's just like the foundation of people's understanding, and it's something almost imperceptible that especially students feel almost without any background whatsoever. None of them heard of you before. And well, maybe some have, I never asked them. But yeah, and then I had this course paper about your price tags.
Whoa.
So
Wow.
thank you, Smolny, and thank you, its students, of course. It's not a question, but yeah.
Kerry.
Thank you. Thank you, Sasha, for coming here, and thank you for the speech that you gave. It's very glad to have you here with us. Thank you for coming. I had a question about liberal arts in Russia, and for instance, like, do you think that liberal arts education is possible in contemporary Russia? Like, with all of the restrictions that the universities in Russia currently are facing, which was the reason why the liberal arts faculty in universities, and for example in my university as well, were closed and had people fleeing with lots of problems and so on. When that was happening, I thought that, for instance, it was mostly about like the brands that this liberal arts have that was not possible with the with the like politics and the political stuff that was happening in Russia during this time. But I think that just like academic approach towards like the freedom of speech, of thought, and of study is very important, as you said, for like becoming like educated individuals, which I thought might be possible to preserve in universities, maybe with some restrictions. But I was curious, what's your take on this?
You know, I from the very beginning, when I was politically exchanged, I like told myself that half of the year would pass and I couldn't and wouldn't speak on behalf of Russian people, because everything that I know about Russia, that things now are changing so rapidly and so dramatically, and you never know for what reason you could get to Russian jail tomorrow. So, oh, this is a great point. I agree with you. So,
Big Brother is watching.
yes, no, I just thought that she understands that I want coffee. Like, you know me. So later, after. So, and no, she like interrupt me so much. I totally forgot I was talking about.
You try to answer about the
Yes,
community
yes.
application.
And I just can't tell you, because like all the like 2.5 past years I spent in Russian prison, it's like I'm not like comparing with Gulag, but the idea of that this world are so, you know, divided from the rest of the world, and you like don't know what is like really happening outside. Like not talking about big news, like all the big news, you will get it. Even you are not like watching TV or like reading something, you will get it, like all the big news. And but I didn't experience the society, because this is crucial. Because you know why this is great fear in people now? Like there are cameras, they're on every corner. That's why they're finding people so rapidly. You see, that just, yes, they're watching us, and that fear, that very experience, that very feeling being constantly watched, that I like went through, like in jail, in like biggest, like, you know, way you could experience it. This is like changing your mind. Then I like ended up here. I noticed that there are almost like no cameras, and I was saying to me, hey, relax, nobody's watching. Yes, and that's why I don't know, but I think this would be a miracle. This would be great. But if like something like this could appear in Russia, it could be, you know, like cut from the whole academic world, because it wouldn't be official. It would be like, you know, Christian, first Christian, you know, spaces in the catacombs, something like this. But I think Ilya Alexandrovich could say more.
This is your event, so Kerry, you have a question.
Thank you so much for coming. I'm a US American who's been based here at Bard College Berlin for a long time now. And my question actually follows a bit on from the last question, but I heard a number of different answers in which to the question of why liberal arts is important to you today. You talked about Smolny back in the old days as this island of freedom where you could talk about things that weren't allowed even then. And I think, you know, for me as an outsider, it's important to hear and to know that even, you know, back in the early 2010s, there was a lot of restrictions and censorship, and to begin to get a picture of how kind of media life became shrunk, even as Putin grew larger, as he pointed out on the screen. And then you talked about how important it was for you to have these cultivated habits of reading and ability to work with archetypes in order, like tactically, to improve your case, but also, you know, to carry on communication. So it's kind of unfair to ask you more for like another lesson, but I'm struck, but I will anyway. I'm struck now, you know, luckily you're here in Germany. You've you know, very happily been released from jail. And now that you're in civilian life, of course, I mean, the war in Ukraine is still going on. Censorship, as you're talking about in Russia, is increasing. I asked because, you know, I see some similar trends to what's happening in Russia and the United States. Like, what does one do? Like, do you see ways in which liberal arts education continues to be important for responding to this present moment? Can you give us any advice, I guess?
Of course, yes, but I also like wanted to tell you that first of all, like you know, first of all, the liberal. I wanted also to tell you how like liberal arts and scientists education, first of all, like helped me ended up in jail. Because so be very careful.
Yeah.
So be very careful with it, because like a liberal art and sciences education is raising, critical thinking, and there would be like more people that like have critical thinking, and in times of repression, this would be like very hard for them, but it also would be good. I think that, the very important thing about liberal arts education, because of the, all the humanities sector and all the like multi disciplinary, because what we were like doing, like, I don't know, past 100 or like 50 years, we were like taking like all the perspective to IT, to computer scientists. I know, no offense, I know you also have computer scientists, but it's like, broader than like, and we were like, we're giving money for this and so on, and now we are like kind of in a trap, but they built, and we know like some scientists, I don't know if it was Levi-Strauss, I don't know, maybe not he, like you should give the right answer, said that if 21st century wouldn't be a century of humanities, there would be a catastrophe. And actually, now I think he could be right, because all the world is standing in front of such a big and such sophisticated and complicated moral dilemmas. So maybe if we got the like philosophy, maybe we got an anthropology, like, more, I don't know, like more, like just giving more money to these spheres, doing more researchers. If we would have like these spheres large as IT, I think everything could like be different, because diplomacy like failing like at all, and nobody is like ever thinking about like, deciding, resolving problems with the diplomacy, and nobody knows how to like end the war, not by killing someone. But this like should be, because like everyone wants to war to end and stop killing people, and we cannot give an answer like what we should do. This is like a classic moral dilemma with like, this train and railways and this mechanism, and you decided what are you going to like kill one person or several. Like either way, you would be a killer.
Hey, I just want to ask, you mentioned you have worked consciously on your self-image, and I'm very curious, and you mentioned being like martyr or something, like a person who's suffering. What about your image nowadays, and after like releasing from jail? And do you like still construct your image? And if yes, what kind of image is that? And I have two more questions. Sorry, I'll just throw them at you. So, and the other question is, do you, one moment, I'm trying to focus. Wait. Okay, maybe you answer and I'm
Okay,
yeah.
yes, it would be like more proper, and have troubles with memory, so thank
Oh yeah, now I remembered. Sorry.
Okay.
So, and how is your like basically, do you pursue still activism? And and I'm curious if jail changed your perspective on activism? And the last question, what this event is about for you? And why are you here today, and why you're speaking about this topic?
Okay, I think that like the rest of the questions was like answered by me, because like I really met a person who was like in charge, like to close Smolny, or like to not like asking me what's the use of the liberal arts and scientists. And when went through the jail, I remembered her question and I'm answering, you know, something like this, because maybe some of you, I don't know, maybe doubting like what's like the practical use. I don't know you, maybe you like just like me, like enjoying these journeys of knowledges and arts and interesting experience, like to grow further in like every field you want. So maybe it's like this. So I answered this. And about image, you know, I think in the more modern world is harder not to build any image, because like all of us, almost all of us, has social networks, and the mechanisms of social networks, like, you know, somehow make you to write, to represent something that fits into that interface, something that fits into the discourse and so on. You maybe never noticing this. And I tried to like do the different experience, to do my social media like in the most like natural way. And this is so difficult, you know, because I'm more feeling myself like a trickster that is standing behind images and, you know, just juggling them in order like to survive, in order to like help some other people. And sometimes, you know, and sometimes I don't know, I'm just begging like some people, some wealthy people for the money, and then like bring them to people who don't have it. It's almost like Robin Hood thing, but without Robin. So, and you had also like the second questions that I don't remember.
Yeah, you're about your activism after.
About it, that's no surprise. I like forgot it, like because like I don't know why like all the people like claim me an activist, and I see like, you know, some, I don't know, unpleasant symptom in this. It's kind of like anyone, if anyone, I don't know, in Russia do some, you know, protest, like I was participating in the folk action, like people were doing this, we were like bringing these price tags to the supermarket. It wasn't the one. And how they were all activists, while like a simple person, simple, you know, citizen. It's my, I don't know, I felt it's like, it's crucial for me as a citizen. I'm not about like, you know, fighting bloody regime. I wanted to fall like immediately, but I'm more about social things. I'm not a politic. I don't read news in any way because I don't know, it's too stressful for me. I have migraines, and I have too many people to like tell me about all the news that happened on the weekend. I even don't have to spend my time to like, but if I was an activist, if I was a politic, I should do this. But, you know, I can't like, you know, divide it myself to like so many smallest parts. The whole thing I want is to do my art to, but yes, I'm answering all the social calls, because I think an artist is a person who like should like discuss, should tell about things that are happening if they are, I don't know, quite kind of really wrong, like for yourself and so on. I'm not activist at all. And you know, like every time like I'm at an interview on or on some, you know, stream or some video conference, And sometimes someone is asking me, what are you thinking about radical movements in Europe? And I'm like, I'm not Russian. I'm not like, you know, Karamurza. I can't answer this question because it would be my personal, you know, couch experience. Couch, divanny. I don't know if you has this. How you can like translate it? Divanny critic. Armchair critic, yes. And I don't want it. I want to like roll, you know, roll out of this political track as soon as possible, because I born like to play music and to draw, and so.
Don't you think that this kind of thinking, like what you're saying, really reminds me of people who say, oh, I support women's rights, but I'm not a feminist. And what you're doing very much reminds me of, oh, yeah, I do like things, political, meaningful things that actually invades like the political structure, and you engage it very in a performative way. I don't know, maybe I read something not correct, but as soon as I know like this, you did like this price tag and you put like information
No,
about.
I don't. I'm not. I didn't do them. Like all the journalists, I keep mixing facts.
Okay, so
I was
maybe
saying this
could
from
you
the
tell
start.
the story? Yeah.
Actually, I like after I was released, I asked for the contacts of this very person who like did this genius thing, and because I wanted to like people knew her, because like many journalists, I was like, oh, you know, I read many of your interviews, and this is like cool thing that you were reading like musical theory books in Lefortov. I don't even remember what interview I said it, but in the same place, the journalists keep asking me, oh, your action with price tags was so unique, was so fun. Actually, I was stuck in all these price tags in all supermarkets. You know, my intention and my motivation wasn't political, it was personal. There were kids in Ukraine. I was educated. There were my friends in Ukraine. So, and I don't know why I should be a politic and activist if my like current art is like somehow connected to the things that are happening, and they are more engaging me in a social ways, because like I don't know, I am inspired by things as like mental diseases, like you know, prisons and so on. And it was like the main thing to me to like draw about this, to do my art about this. And actually I was like kind of embarrassed that I wasn't even captured for my art, because the main thing I was doing was jamming for peace. I was gathering musicians, and we were transmitted abroad, and they were gathering money for the right defenders and so on. Yes, I was in the rally, but like I think that every like modest person should to go to the rally, and it's not meaning he or she is an activist. So if we are saying so, like people would be saying, hey, I'm not an activist, I'm not going to the square today, why should I'm not Navalny.
Yeah, but there is no such a strict division between personal and political, because your personal choice was at the same time had a political meaning. This is a political choice, and political consequences also for you. So there is no such a strict border between personal and political, especially in
Yes, and
life.
I want to mention that I'm really working in the social fit problem, because I'm talking like every month I'm going to like events to like enlighten people about problems of people, political prisoners in jails. I'm doing media campaigning about people in jails who are sitting there right now. It's more crucial and more important for me, for myself, like than to do, I don't know, some political performances, like to, I don't know, discredit Putin or something. That's not my way. I respect it. But I'm more about people, about their needs, about their problems that I am talking about.
Yeah, I just wanted. Yeah, I think my question also about image was not answered. Like little detail, like that I want to add. I just feel what you're saying is a very big part of Russian culture. Like I'm out of politics, and I'm just a person like who is for people, for social, and avoiding like political moment. And maybe it somehow influenced you, like the general Russian culture. I'm not sure. I'm not
It's
sure
really-
why you're
it's
afraid of
really-
this word. But also about like your image, like I understand you just mentioned that you're self-constructing it. So I'm really interested, how do you construct it and what does it mean, like your self-image right now? Because I think you have some attention towards you. That's why you're invited. And that's why I'm asking, like, why are you here and what's your image? How do you imagine it? Like, but
Wow, interesting.
yeah.
Yeah, I see. Your question was like really deeper when I thought it once, so I'm apologizing. Okay, right now I'm here because I kind of like was invited here, and I really want to like talk about it and not talk about I don't know, perspective of political movement in Russia. You see, this is the difference, and I kind of love it. And what you're saying, like I'm out of politics. No, I'm a citizen. A citizen should like go to the election. It's not like being out of politics. I was a journalist. It's like the different position. I was really engaged. I was really amazed by all the people who were fighting regime. I love people. That's why I love these activists. I was like filming them. I was on Bolotnaya Square. I don't know if you know this. There was like, some kind of massacre. There was like the hugest protest in 2012. I was filming there, and like glass bottles were like in the air and gas, and police were like beating people as mad, and I was like filming it and showing people and so on, but it is not kind of politics, so really loved like film them. I was watching over elections like a journalist, filmed like all this stuff, and I don't know, I'm not saying I'm like out of politics. I'm saying I don't want to be a politician. Yes, I'm kind of want to like change some things, but I want to change like citizens, and I want citizens to be somehow involved in this life. If we are like calling like every person who are, so maybe you're an activist also, you see, but he was arrested and he spent like 10 years in a police station, but he's still not claiming himself an activist.
There's a difference between identification, personal identification, and real, like if you go on a meta level, I think you should understand that you don't exist in a vacuum, right? You exist in the society, and it's like political, like sitting here is political, every person who sits here is like political, because we are talking about like historical things, like political things,
It's more like historical things. It's more like about my personal, experience. It's personal. I don't know why. No, like my main identity is a musician, and I slowly refusing all the political events. You see, because I don't want to like get out of jail and say, no, I'm not like going to the conferences. You see why I should go to the conference? Like explain to me. I'm not like, you should like do politics if you have a sparkle in you to do this. It's not like making me like happy, you see. And what can I change in the Russian politics? I think this is like, the crazy idea that some there from abroad, you could change something in Russia. You could post like any, political things, but it like would cheer up your protest community abroad. and so on. And I don't want, yes, I know like people would be like glad if I would like do a post about like, I don't know, Putin and so on. But this is also about group of people. I want like more people to be engaged and to tell them stories about jail, about repression in a human way, because many people don't want to think about it, and then they see this stuff about repression, about cruelty, they just cut it from their, like, you know, this informational bubble. And I wanted to do a story, a performance that would be naive, that would be about love, not about repression. Yes, it was about love. Sonia was fighting for me. Imagine you are, you know, waiting for your girlfriend or boyfriend in jail. How much months you could wait? Just think of it. You should bring her food like every week, like, you know, heavy bags with food. You should buy it. You should communicate with all lawyers. And also this is dangerous because the society in Russia is homophobic. She actually received threats. And there was a happy ending actually when we first met and kissed, and that's the ending of my story. That's why it is about love.
Peace, love.
Yeah. No, yes, of course, yeah, make love, no war, yeah. But if we recall our Smolny classes, Smolny educational experience, we read Foucault or Althusser or Judith Butler. So you should remember that your personal experience and the very core of your identity was structured by the political field, political landscape, political experience. So there is no such why you so strictly divide your personal intentions and some political choice. Because we are talking about the political not as a profession, not as a
No, because
real
my
strict field of activity. Yeah.
my decision was very different from decision of Ilya Yashin or Karamurza. They have different motivations.
That's clear. That's clear. Yes, of course. Yeah.
That's why. Yes, and if I like wanted to do something this way, you know,
You're
I
still
have
a political animal. Yeah. No.
no, I don't want to be like this. I want to be an artist as I am, and one day,
As an artist. Yeah.
and one day it would be like everyone forget about me as a so-called activist, because I never claimed myself like this. Why I couldn't be just artist that like chose a political theme? And so what? There are many people in jail in Russia. So what? They are all like, but they are all like, you know, victims of this repression machine. You know why? Because it's a big money machine. If a person was arrested, he or she would get to jail in any way, and there is no chance to prove his or her innocence. Why? Because when the case is going, all the prosecutors, all the investigators, all the judges, they getting money. And if the person like would like found like innocent, they should give them money for the jail, for the days in jail they spent. You see, and even innocent. What?
You think it's impressive information?
I think it's about the thing that all the prisoners in Russia are kind of victims of repression machine, but I can't like call them all activists. So I don't know. I think this is your perception for me, like being activist or something, but you can see what is like happened with the Pussy Riot. Natasha Tolokonnikova is like
She's not about to
she's working on like this theme, like she is activist and she is about this and she is reflecting on her story like since like till nowadays. But there are like other members who like migrated in the pure art, and this is okay. And I won't like do that something that I don't want. I want to be myself, and I'm artist and I'm musician because I'm happy when I'm doing this, and I'm not happy when I'm at a conference. Not happy at all, you see. And I spent these years in prison just to stay myself, you know, and just understand that like the jail would end, but my conscience, but my remembrance of these children, my ability to look them in the eyes, I could lose it, and I would remember it till my death. So I decided to be myself, even if it would be costed like 7 years. That's why I'm not a politician. I was motivated only by personal stuff.
Okay, we don't have the questions, but we do have a couple of comments again from Bart. There is another Smolny grad who wrote case study on your detention, which is a useful educational tool. So
Oh, whoa.
I'll send you the link.
Can I read all this paper?
Yeah, sure. And there is also a message from one of the former professors. Дорогая Саша, спасибо за ваш рассказ. Счастлива видеть вас, восхищаюсь. Желаю всего самого лучшего. Анна Сергеевна Ласточкина.
Oh,
Okay. Yeah.
thank you very much.
Yeah. So, yeah. On the case, I don't know whether you read it or not. Not yet, probably. The case study.
No, and
Any other question?
Other questions?
Okay. Well,
Yeah, I think it's time to
yes, we are like,
stop. Yeah, maybe.
yeah. Think I can.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Sasha. We are so happy you are with us today. Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, and like thank you for interesting questions. That's like your questions were like most interesting questions from like all the events I ever made in this like 6 months. So like really thank you. It like make me think about some things I don't know if I like managed to explain to you like my point, but it was interesting to think about this. Like so, thank you, and thank you all for like attending this event, because it's like it's my alma mater, and this is very important for me. I was like crying when I was getting my red diploma. It was because it was on the A's, because it was like really hard to work and to study in the same time, and like doing my best every day. And I was like really tired, and I was like dreaming of this like you know, ancient academic tradition, to stay in this cap and this living room and so on. And I was crying all the ceremony. Yeah, I was crying all the ceremony. Yes, this is my costume. I even did a photo session with this. I have no like photo session, but this this one in this costume. And yes, I was like crying all this. Crying all this out, and then I saw filming. It was like my face, like, oh, because it was like so touching. So that's why I really wanted to like see you and know you somehow connected with people from Smolny. I'm glad that you are inviting some people from Smolny, and this is great, like to preserve this place, like this tiny piece of this place, kind of somewhere, and maybe one day we could like bring this little seed to Russia, and then like new liberal education, art and sciences tree will grow. Maybe, let's hope. Right.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Спасибо.